Hey everyone, Resident Evil here. I know it's been a while since I've made a video or stream. I've been taking time to work on my mental health problems, and it really hasn't been easy. On top of that, however, there have been other things that have kept me from doing the things that I enjoy, which is streaming and making videos, and so on. I really wanted to get back to living my life again, but before I do that, I have to deal with the mental roadblocks and hurdles that have been preventing me from doing so. One of those things is the events that occurred during my time being Kenny from YoVideogames, aka Unroolie's video editor in 2019. I know I said before I didn't want to discuss it, and I tried to put it behind me. I made a video about it, discussing it. I made a video about it discussing it before, but I removed that video shortly afterwards, and I will discuss why that happened later. People have been asking me about what happened. I try to give a short response and ignore the long story, but I think it's time for me to go over everything that happened and how it affected me personally. Now, I understand that there are a lot of people who are fans of both YoVideogames and Kenny individually, and what I'm about to explain won't be easy for many people to hear and accept, but I swear to you all, what I'm about to say is 100% the truth. Everything that I'm about to go over did actually happen, and it happened the way I'm about to describe it. So, basically, this all started at the end of 2018. I got around to thinking about what I'm going to do with my life at that point. I unfortunately can't work due to my mental health, my attention deficit disorder, my depression, my anxiety, and I had just survived a suicide attempt earlier that year, and I began to consider basically having a purpose again. I tried to keep myself busy with work, and work on my mental health in the process to get better, to return to some form of normalcy again. And one of the things I considered was editing/creating videos, because I made the Red Dead Redemption Hype and Rage for Steve the year before. People enjoyed it. I put a lot of work into it, and I think it came out very well. At the beginning of 2019, Kenny and Steve's YouTube accounts were inactive, and they haven't been active for a very long time. So I made a tweet suggesting if you guys need to get your YouTubes back up and running again, I can help. And Kenny decided he might take me up on my offer, because I've helped this stream in the past. So a month goes by around the beginning of February of 2019. Kenny had a stream saying he lost his job at the time. I'm not sure what his job was exactly. I think he was working for a game developer at the time. But I don't recall him actually saying where he was employed, but it doesn't matter. During the stream, I suggested in chat he should go all in with his stream and his YouTube, and he thought it was a good idea. I let him know I can still help with his YouTube and his stream as well, and we worked together on his logo, and he started his streaming team, the Unrooolie Mob. Excuse me. At the beginning of March, I started working with him on videos, starting off small, editing some Mortal Kombat 11 preview videos from when he went to visit NetherRealm in February, I believe. He offered me money for my work, but I respectfully declined, and I'll get into why I declined later. At that point, I started working on some more videos for him, like the scary stream clips compilation for him. I also created the outro he used for his videos at the time, which I was particularly proud of because he was rather pleased with it. Around the time, Kenny had some issues with me getting into arguments with our people in the community. The reason behind that being I'm a mod in Steve, aka Infinite SGE's channel, also from YoVideogames, and at the time his chat room was getting a bit out of control. So I took it upon myself to do the responsible thing and try to get things back under control again, but others took issue with that, wanting to keep things crazy all the time. The fact that Steve has so many mods in his chat room, not taking responsibility, but in fact hindering those that wasn't helping at all. About halfway through April, Kenny began adding people to his stream team, and I respectfully declined to be on his team for 3 reasons. 1, I wanted to maintain control of my own stream. I didn't want anyone telling me that I had to play a certain game or not to play a game or take on any sponsorships or host another streamer that I didn't feel I should be hosting. 2, I don't like owing people. In my experience, whenever someone does something nice for me, even if they say it's not a favor for them, more often than not, it will come back to where I have to be obligated to do something for them. And I will do my best to try and repay them if it comes to that, but it just doesn't feel good being weighed down with that responsibility. And lastly, I don't like other people taking credit for my success. Sure, maybe Kenny wouldn't have done so officially, but people wouldn't see it that way. They would see my success as a result of Kenny's assistance. And I know I say I don't care what people think, but this isn't opinions we're talking about. This is basically like rewriting facts and makes a huge difference. Unfortunately, Kenny didn't see it that way, and he insisted that I be a part of his team due to my position as his video editor. I never said anything further about it at the time. I naturally assumed that he was going to officially confirm me as a member of his stream team afterwards, but he never did, leaving me in a sort of stalemate position where I couldn't stream for a while because I wasn't sure if I was part of his team or not. Afterwards, I kept working on some more videos for him near the end of April, though I decided I should quit being his editor due to the fact that Kenny had not confirmed me for being on a stream team yet, and even though I wanted to help him out, I felt that he was making it rather difficult to work with him, and I also wanted to work on my own stream and content creation as well. But he really didn't want me to quit being his editor, so I decided I would give it another try, thinking eventually things would get better. Around the same time, Kenny wanted me to work on being more, quote, positive. Let's take a minute here and put aside that my father died when I was young, that a few years ago I lost my job, I got evicted from my apartment, I had a mental breakdown, and I survived a suicide attempt earlier in 2018. I have severe depression, along with attention deficit disorder and social anxiety. That's not a theory or a belief or a hunch. It is 100% fact. Telling someone with depression to just be more positive is like telling a paraplegic to stand up and walk. You just don't do it. And I'm sure that Kenny was fully aware that I have these afflictions. It is something I still deal with every day, every single day. And it is most likely something I have to deal with for the rest of my life. And it is not something that just goes away whenever myself or someone else wants it to. You just can't wave a magic wand and suddenly make depression disappear. Believe me, if I could, I certainly would, but I can't. Halfway through May, Kenny announced that he was going to become a Twitch ambassador and that he was going to the Twitch headquarters in San Francisco for a meeting about it. He also said that coming out of the meeting, he was going to create a video giving advice that he got from the meeting to other streamers about how to improve their streams as well. After all that happened, coming out of it, it felt like something changed with Kenny, like his personality just flipped. Before, he was excited and enthusiastic about working with me on his videos and his stream, and coming out of it afterwards, it just felt like he became emotionally detached. I'm not sure what actually happened at the meeting. I have theories, but I'm not going to get into that right now. He never did actually produce that video he said he was going to make. He never approached me about it or made one himself. He probably had to sign some sort of NDA or something at the meeting. Towards the end of May, Kenny approached me to do a video using clips of himself doing commentary for matches at various events because he wanted to sign up to become a commentator at EVO 2019. I managed to collect clips and make the video, but something went wrong with the upload to YouTube, and I had to re-upload it again, trying to get everything done within the time limit we were given. Unfortunately, Kenny didn't get to be a commentator that year, and despite there being factors that were outside of my control, I still felt bad about Kenny not being a commentator at EVO that year. After that, Black Lake Chef created a tweet asking people about what capture device to purchase for his stream. Somebody suggested to him to purchase an AverMedia device, and I tried to dissuade him from doing so due to the fact that Kenny and Steve had so many problems with trying to get them to work properly at the time. Upon doing so, Kenny replied to the tweet stating that his AverMedia device had never malfunctioned on stream before, despite his device having done so several times live during his streams. I confronted him about this afterwards, to which he explained the reason that he lied was because he was attempting to gain a sponsorship from AverMedia for his stream. During that time, I had planned on creating a series of videos helping people to improve their streams, explaining the type of hardware they should buy, how to set it up, how to use OBS, and so on. Unfortunately, after this had all occurred, my plans had been effectively rendered null because I felt like my credibility as someone who had extensive knowledge about troubleshooting and maintaining PC hardware and other technologies had been completely destroyed. I couldn't make any videos about fixing or improving anything with anyone's streams if they thought I was discredited as a knowledgeable person due to Kenny contradicting my advice in such a public forum. Kenny then stated I should, and I quote, leave this all to me, indicating that he would come up with some sort of resolution to the whole mess. But of course, he never did. Naturally, things became uneasy between him and I after that. I had some optimism that maybe our friendship or partnership, whatever you want to call it, would somehow overcome all this unpleasantness and things would get back to the way they were before and I could continue my work with him again. But unfortunately, those aspirations were soon ruined when I had discovered on Kenny's YouTube another video that neither I nor Kenny worked on. And it was a compilation of Kenny's wins in Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout at the time, except the intro and outro that I had worked hard on creating for Kenny were altered. I discovered later that Kenny had Ender Gamma create the video for his channel, which at the time he had on his website's quote resume, on Ender Gamma's website, calling it his resume, claiming that the content within the video, which included the intro and outro that I worked on, was actually his own work. Needless to say, I got pretty upset about this. I once again confronted Kenny about this, trying to explain how I felt about Ender Gamma taking credit for my work, and how I felt about Kenny doing all of this behind my back, not informing me that he intended to have Ender Gamma create a video for him. Kenny attempted to pay me for my work, giving me $100 through my Twitch donation link into my PayPal, at which point I promptly refunded it back to Kenny after I had explained that I did not want to be paid for my work. And I've had people tell me, you would have been upset if you would have been upset anyways if Kenny let you go as his editor, or Kenny was within his right to alter my work because you wouldn't have given him permission to do it. If Kenny had told me straight up at the time that he didn't want me to be his editor anymore, yes, I would have been upset, and eventually I would have gotten over it. But that is not what happened. If Kenny had come to me and asked me if he could alter my work, maybe I would have said yes, maybe said no. I don't know how I would have felt about it, and I can't tell you honestly how I would have responded, because that is not what happened. Things just kind of fell apart after that. I created the first video explaining everything, showing the DMs of our correspondence on Twitter as proof of what happened between him and I. It wasn't something that I was happy or proud of doing. I didn't have a choice. Nobody would have believed anything I said, as it would have been the word of some random guy on the internet against a popular streamer / content creator. Even still, though, I regret that I had to do it. I was so emotionally distraught over the whole experience. At one point, I almost hired an attorney to take legal action against both Kenny and Ender Gamma in an attempt to have the video taken down from Ender Gamma's website / resume. I tagged Max, Steve, and Simmons and others in YoVideogames on Twitter with regards to the video, because I hoped that one of them would maybe talk to Kenny and get him to come to his senses over what he did. And also, I just want to say, God bless Maximilian and Steve and Simmons for their patience, understanding after all this had happened. Because it would have been so easy for them to just ban me from their streams and block me on Twitter and oust me from the YoVideogames community entirely, but they didn't. And even though I still go through anxiety attacks and depression spikes whenever there's a YoVideogames stream with Kenny on, or he's in one of their stream chats, people in the YoVideogames community like Beautiful Otaku, Lady Draco, Brooklyn Killa, Smart Boy, Bellatima, Alfina, Arcuni, Retrozade, FGC Tony, C4 Sages, Omega Zero, Keonix, Ghost from Third Strike, Caramel Jenkins, Sabretooth Staz, and so many others have been so very supportive and understanding, trying to help me get through it all. And I truly appreciate it, and God bless everybody in the community for their love and friendship. Sorry. Soon afterwards, Kenny banned me from his Twitch channel. He blocked me on Twitter. Some vindictive mod banned me from the YoVideogames Discord over the whole thing. Needless to say, my mental health wasn't very good after the whole experience. I completely lost my passion for both making videos and streaming. Just before I had stopped being his editor, I had started working on an intro for Kenny's stream, which was most likely going to be the most ambitious work I had ever done. I learned how to use programs like Adobe Illustrator, After Effects. I learned how to do 3D rendering in Blender. And unfortunately, that intro will never get finished. I don't even think I can go to EVO anymore, which has been my dream to go for a long time. But knowing Kenny will be there would just cause me way too much anxiety. Kenny would present this defense of his actions that somehow my, quote, getting into fights online is the reason why he did these things. I want to get a few things straight right now. Do I sometimes have shitty opinions that many people don't agree with? Sure. Hell, I'll admit it right now. Am I going to apologize for that? Absolutely not. I have the right to express my opinions if I choose to do so, just like how everybody has the right to not acknowledge or respond to them. But if they choose to do so, then of course I'm going to defend my position on it. Secondly, there are 3 types of people that I don't like. First is liars. Second is hypocrites. And third is amoral assholes. People who bend, break, or just flat out ignore rules and morality. If I know for a fact that someone is being one of those 3 things, I'm going to call them out on it. And I don't care who you are. If you're someone with more followers, more subscribers, a celebrity, it doesn't make any difference to me. And finally, none of that is a justification for what Kenny did, for doing what Kenny did. Expressing my opinions doesn't hurt people. You know what does? Lying hurts people. Betrayal hurts people. So, why did I title this video, Kenny Should Apologize? I'm not going to mince words. I did that for myself. I have social anxiety. There's a lot to explain with how that works. But basically, social anxiety creates a lot of self-doubt when it comes to interacting with other people. And when you have social anxiety, you go over every interaction with other people, asking yourself questions in your head like, did I do something wrong? What could I have done differently? Or what didn't I do that I should have done, and so on. And believe me when I say I have thought about everything that happened between myself and Kenny a lot in this past year, because I'm trying to alleviate my social anxiety and figure out how to have healthy interactions with people again. I've asked all these questions so many times, over and over, and ultimately I came to the conclusion that I did not do anything wrong. There were, and still are, a lot of people who attempted to convince me otherwise, who tried maliciously to manipulate my self-doubt into thinking that I was the bad guy out of all of this. But I know in my mind and my heart that I am a good person. And the title of this video serves as a reminder to myself that none of what happened was my fault. Why didn't I take any money for my work? Besides the aforementioned not wanting to take any influence from working with Kenny, I don't really like getting regularly paid for things that I enjoy doing, because when that happens, the things that I enjoy doing suddenly become work. And when it becomes work, then it's no longer enjoyable. But the other thing is, when I began working with Kenny, he had lost his job, And Kenny is also a single parent with 2 daughters. I personally understand what it's like to be a single parent because my dad passed away 21 years ago when I was only 16 years old. And my mom had to raise me and my 4 other brothers and sisters by herself. And it just didn't feel right taking money from Kenny for anything. All I wanted to do was just help him get his YouTube off the ground and help make his stream better. So why am I bringing this up now? Why didn't I bring this up 2 years ago or a year ago when all of this happened? Well, first of all, you're right. You're absolutely right. Initially, I made a video immediately after all this happened, but after it got uploaded, people who are Kenny's fans just think he's infallible because he's famous just began attacking me online through either YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. And after all this happened, my depression and anxiety just began spiking like crazy. And I removed the video a week later because I just didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to talk about it. I just thought I could put it all behind me and move on and try to get back to doing the things that I enjoy and get back to my regular life. Obviously, that didn't happen. And as I stated at the beginning of the video, I'm working on my mental health. I want to get back to some form of normalcy in my life again. I want to do things that I used to, and I want to do the things I used to enjoy again. And after a lot of soul searching, I truly feel that making this video is one of the things I have to do in order to achieve that goal. If Kenny were to apologize, would I be willing to forgive him? Here's the thing. It's not just me that he has to apologize to. It's the entire YoVideogames community as well. Kenny is, I guess you could say, one of the founding members of YoVideogames. The mantra of the YoVideogames community is be excellent to each other. And the events I went over in this video are not keeping in line with that mantra. As a person who is supposed to be one of the top pillars of this community, he should be held responsible to be an example of that mantra to the rest of the community, which unfortunately, due to my experience with him, he did not. Kenny would probably have to make a video apology and put it on his YouTube, going over what he did, admit what he did was wrong, and ultimately apologize. And I don't care about getting unbanned from a stream or unbanned from the Discord or unblocked on Twitter. All I want is just an apology. Would I forgive him if he did that? Sure. Absolutely. Do I think Kenny will or would ever do that? No, I don't. If I don't think Kenny would apologize, then why would I bother making this video in the first place? Well, on top of the aforementioned reasons relating to my mental health and so on, the other thing is I feel like these events should be told. Most of my life, I've always felt like my problems weren't really that important, and thus I never felt the need to have to stand up for whenever I've been wronged in any way. When I had my breakdown a few years ago, I told myself that needed to stop. I needed to stop taking shit from other people and to stop blaming myself for things that weren't ultimately my fault. When I deleted that first video immediately after all this stuff happened, the year before, I regretted doing it. I don't think I should have deleted it. I should have left it on my channel, and that's what I'm going to do with this video. I'm not going to delete this video. It's going to remain on my channel, no matter what comments I get, no matter how many dislikes I get. This video is going to stay up, basically until Kenny apologizes and I forgive him for what he did. Because I don't want to keep having anxiety attacks or depression spikes whenever I watch a YoVideogame stream. I want to move on, and I want to have my life again. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you online.